If you've watched my previous video on the 5 hidden weight loss saboteurs, you know that weight loss doesn't have to be a torturous struggle that the diet industry wants you to believe it is. Today, I'm going to reveal the specific strategies that I promised, the ones that create a caloric deficit that's actually easier and healthier in the long run. I'm Dr. Josh Shields, and at our clinic, we help patients by focusing on clinical science-backed approaches to restoring their health naturally and safely, using a whole systems approach to healing their mind and body. But what I'm about to share with you goes beyond simple caloric restriction. These are deep nutritional strategies that naturally suppress appetite, maximize fat burning, and make weight loss feel almost effortless. But first, let me paint you a picture of what's really happening in your body every time that you eat. Every time that you put food in your mouth, you're triggering a complex cascade of hormonal responses that either support fat burning or completely shut it down. Now, the modern diet is dominated by foods that are readily accessible and designed for maximum taste, yet they often are calorically dense and deficient in fiber and contribute to sharp fluctuations in your blood glucose. These sugar spikes trigger massive insulin release. And here's what most people don't understand, is that insulin is your body's most powerful fat-storing hormone. And when insulin levels are elevated, fat burning essentially stops. Now, your body goes into a storage mode then instead of a burning mode. And this is why someone can eat 1,200 calories of processed foods and struggle to lose weight, while another person who eats 1,800 calories of whole foods drops pounds effortlessly. It's not just about calories, it's about the hormonal response that those calories create. So let me share the 5 keys to eating for effortless weight loss. Key number 1, master the art of insulin control. Now, this first key to effortless weight loss is understanding and controlling your insulin response. Every time you eat, especially foods that are higher in carbohydrates and sugars, your blood glucose is going to rise rapidly. Your pancreas responds by releasing insulin that brings that glucose back down. But here's the problem, that frequent snacking keeps your insulin levels chronically elevated. And studies show us that people who snack throughout the day maintain higher baseline insulin levels, making fat burning nearly impossible. Now, research published in the Journal of Clinical Investigations demonstrated that even small, frequent meals keeps your insulin levels elevated for hours, effectively blocking lipolysis, which is your body's fat burning process. This is why that orange at 3 p.m. or that healthy smoothie at 10 a.m. might be sabotaging your weight loss efforts. The solution? Give your insulin levels time to drop between your meals. And now this brings us to the second key, harnessing the power of time-restricted eating. Here's something remarkable that happens when you practice time-restricted eating consistently, is that your body's hunger signals actually reprogram themselves. Just like you have a circadian rhythm that controls your sleep-wake cycle, you also have a rhythm called a feeding rhythm that governs your hunger hormones and when they're released. Now, research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that ghrelin, your primary hunger hormone, follows a learned pattern based on your eating schedule. So when you consistently eat at certain times, ghrelin rises in anticipation of those meals. But when you shift to time-restricted eating, your ghrelin patterns adapt within just 2 to 3 weeks. Studies tracking people that are practicing intermittent fasting show that the initial hunger pains during that fasting period virtually disappear after that adaptation period. What once felt impossible, going 16 to 20 hours without food, becomes effortless as your hunger hormones align with your new eating pattern. But this adaptation goes even deeper. Research from the University of Alabama found that your stomach actually undergoes physical changes with this consistent time-restricted eating. The stomach walls become more elastic and responsive to smaller amounts of food, meaning that you feel satisfied with less. This gastric change can reduce meal size by 20 to 30% while maintaining the same level of satiety. This is why those first few weeks of time-restricted eating might feel challenging, but then suddenly become natural. Your body is literally rewiring itself to support your new eating pattern, making this long-term success not just possible, but inevitable. Key number 3, choose foods that work with your biology. Not all calories are created equal when it comes to appetite suppression and metabolic function. So this third key is selecting foods that naturally support your body's weight loss efforts. Protein is the most powerful ally that you have here. It requires 20 to 30% of its calories to digest and metabolize. This is what we call the thermic effect of food. This means that 100 calories of protein only provides your body with 70 to 80 usable calories, while 100 calories of refined carbohydrates provides nearly all 100 calories. But protein does something even more important. It triggers the release of a satiety hormone, the GLP-1, which you've all heard about, which can signal your brain that you're satisfied. And studies have shown that increasing your protein intake by 25 to 30% of your total calories can reduce cravings by up to 60% and boost your metabolism by 80 to 100 calories per day. Now, fiber-rich vegetables also work similarly. These are going to provide the bulk and satiety with minimal calories while feeding the beneficial gut bacteria that supports a healthy metabolism. Healthy fats from sources like avocados, olive oil, and nuts provide sustained energy and help you feel satisfied for hours. The food to minimize are those processed hyperpalatable foods designed in laboratories to bypass the natural satiety signals. Now, these foods trigger addictive eating patterns and make it nearly impossible to maintain a natural caloric deficit. Now you've probably heard about those ketogenic diets, and there's a good reason why, that we recommend them at our clinic. When done correctly, ketosis can boost your metabolism by 250 calories per day compared to higher carbohydrate diets. Now, this metabolic advantage comes with an increased energy cost of converting fats and proteins into glucose through gluconeogenesis. Now, these ketones can also provide what I call a clean burn compared to how glucose would burn. When your body burns ketones for fuel, it produces fewer reactive oxygen species and less metabolic waste. This means reduced oxidative stress and less of that damaging glycation, which I'll explain to you more in a moment. Now, ketones also naturally suppress appetite by increasing those satiety hormones, reducing ghrelin, your hunger hormone. But here's why I see patients getting into trouble. They think ketosis is a magic bullet that overrides the laws of thermodynamics. I regularly see patients who come into my clinic who are in ketosis and have been eating keto-approved foods, some of these people for even years, but they're still not losing weight, and some of these people are remaining diabetic. Why? Because they're still consuming too many calories. I've had patients drinking bulletproof coffee with 200 to 300 calories of added fats, snacking on macadamia nuts throughout the day, and eating massive portions of grass-fed beef, all while wondering why the scale won't budge. 3,000 calories of healthy fats is still 3,000 calories. The metabolic advantages of ketosis are real, but they don't override the basic energy balance. So if you're eating 2,500 calories in ketosis when your body only needs 2,000 calories, you still have to store those excess 500 calories as fat, even in the absence of insulin spikes. Key number 4 is understanding the anti-aging benefits of eating less. And here's something that might shock you. Eating less doesn't just help you lose weight, it can literally slow down the aging process. The most compelling evidence comes from the famous rhesus monkey studies that were conducted over several decades. The researchers took genetically similar monkeys and divided them into two groups. One group was allowed to eat freely, whenever and however much they wanted. The other group followed a caloric restricted diet, consuming about 30% fewer calories than what they actually required, while still receiving all the essential nutrients. Over time, the differences were striking. The calorie-restricted monkeys appeared visibly younger, had shinier coats, more energy, and lived significantly longer. So what explains this transformation? A key factor is a process called glycation. When you consume excess calories, especially from sugar and refined carbohydrates, those surplus glucose molecules bind to your proteins in your body. This forms a harmful compound known as advanced glycation end product, or AGEs. These AGEs damage collagen, blood vessels, and organs, accelerating the aging process from the inside out. So caloric restriction helps reduce this glycation burden. At the same time, it activates longevity pathways like SIRT1 and AMPK, the same ones stimulated by fasting. Now, these pathways support cellular repair, metabolic efficiency, and resilience. That's why caloric restriction isn't just about weight loss. It's a powerful strategy for aging you well, helping you stay energized, vibrant, and healthy as you get older. Now, key number 5 is to build a sustainable system, not a diet. The fifth and most crucial key is creating a way of eating that naturally builds in deficits to compensate for the inevitable days when you overconsume. This isn't about perfection. It's about creating a system that works with human nature, not against it. Traditional diets fail because they expect perfection in an imperfect world and with imperfect humans. But what if you could create an eating pattern where occasional overindulgence was already accounted for? This is where time-restricted eating becomes incredibly powerful. If you're eating 1 meal a day, 6 days a week, you can afford to be more flexible on the 7th day without derailing your progress. If you're doing a 16-hour fasting period with an 8-hour eating window most days, the occasional day where you eat outside your window won't matter in the long run. The key is in thinking in terms of weekly or monthly averages, not daily perfection. Some days you'll eat more, some days you'll eat less. Some days you'll fast for 20 hours, other days maybe only 12. The goal is creating a sustainable rhythm that naturally tends toward a caloric deficit over time. This approach removes the psychological stress and the guilt that destroys most weight loss efforts. So when you have a system that expects and accounts for imperfection, you can relax and trust the process. Remember, sustainable weight loss isn't about willpower or deprivation. It's about working with your body's natural systems instead of against them. When you control your insulin and practice time-restricted eating, choose foods that support your biology, understand the anti-aging benefits of moderate restriction, and build sustainable systems, weight loss becomes a natural byproduct of health. Your body wants to be healthy. Your metabolism wants to function optimally, and you just need to create the condition that allows these natural processes to work. What we've covered today represents a fundamental shift from the diet mentality to a health-building lifestyle. These aren't temporary changes. They're sustainable practices that will serve you for life. Your health and weight loss journey doesn't have to be a solo adventure, so join our community of wellness seekers who are reclaiming their health and vitality using these science-backed approaches. Now, if this information has been valuable to you, please hit that subscribe button. It'll do a ton for the channel, and ring that notification bell, because in our next video, I'm gonna reveal something that might surprise you, is that the critical importance of gut health to a healthy body and a healthy metabolism. We'll dive deep into how leaky gut, pesky microbes can hinder your healing and your metabolism, and how deficiencies in key bacterial strains can sabotage your weight loss efforts. We're also going to be exploring the hidden world of your microbiome and how optimizing your gut health might be a missing piece in your weight loss puzzle. Now, this information could change everything about how you approach your health. Until next time, this is Dr. Josh Shields reminding you that your best health is not behind you, it's ahead of you. And with the right knowledge and approach, it's closer than you think. Drop a comment below, let me know which of these 5 keys resonates with you the most, and share your experience with the time-restricted eating if you've tried it. I read every single comment, and your question might just inspire my next video. Talk soon.